YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. Mate, we are back from the World Championship as we are playing at the bottom a White Force deck. What is this? Wandering Titan of Tartarus. Maybe this will be in the thumbnail and you're gonna have no idea what this is. Doesn't even look like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Are we playing Magic now? Yes, we have now switched games as we are that displeased with the current meta of Ryzeal and Maliss dominating everything, as we are desperately coping for a good ban list, which we know the next ban list is not gonna be good until at least October. Sorry for breaking that bad news to you. But at the top, we also have Rescue Ace. I'm a big fan of this deck. Are you ready? By watch as long as you can. That greatly supports the events. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Perelia in the draw phase. We're going to draw per summon from the hand. LZ is a hard choke point where you want to use your Ash Blossom onto this. It summons and searches, which you would completely deny everything. Sylvia is now here, as we of course draw one off of that. The Scourge, when sent to the graveyard to activate a card effect, will be setting itself back in the field. We have Sylvia on summon, giving them a second draw into now grabbing our Tales of the White Forest. As we synchro from the deck, not giving them another draw since it's just Perelia, only from the hand would count. We're going to add an Azamina Aphis from the deck to the hand. Tails, when sent to the graveyard to activate a card, will reset itself to now search our deck for LZ. A third drawn card under Perelia. I cannot believe this, as we now make a Diabel, which will be our fifth summon, allowing Nibiru to be deactivatable, as Diabel will target the Tails engraved to add back to our hand. When do we want to Nibiru? Do they have any card that could stop the summon of Nibiru, which would be a Baron de Flor potentially? So right before a level 10 synchro, or the ability to summon a Sylvia. Sylvia is going to happen right here, right now. If we go for that play instead of the Ryzeal Go to negate Nibiru, what do? We are going for Ryzeal Go. So we are still going to be okay to whip out Nibiru. We don't have another card to negate the Sylvia to ensure it stops the Nibiru. Searching for the Sinful Spoils of Slumber. We have the Ryzeal being returned back to reborn the Sylvie. And what is this? It's a level 10 synchro. It's a Baron de Flor. We have to Nibiru right here, right now. The Diabel will be chaining to a monster activating to special summon a monster from the extra deck, which won't trigger. It's just going to be sent to the graveyard. But with it in the grave, it's now used as fuel for your other White Force monsters to reborn as a quick effect whenever you want. We're now going to Hallowed Azamina, return the Ryzeal Go back into the extra to add back to the hand here. Activate the Hallowed Azamina to now summon the Azamina Soul. Holy moly. On fusion, summon target a card in the field and send it to the grave. We are now going to Sinful Spoil Slumber. When sent to the grave, reset itself back in the field. Well, actually, it just has the effect of if you control level 5 or higher illusion, just set it. I'm unfamiliar with a lot of these cards here because this is not a standard deck. Is this a form of disruption during the opponent's turn? It definitely is not, but we have the Slumber, which will be able to use the effect to target a special summon monster, which could also be your own to flip it face down. We have the Aphis, which will target cards on the field to then return them back to the hand. We have the Scourge, tribute a Synchro to then negate any card in the field. Do we have a way to get a Synchro out onto the field? If we do, that would be the play. And then we have the Debtors. During the main phase quick play, reveal an Azamina fusion from your extra deck and then perform a fusion summon, which could maybe get us into the Sylvia negate. Possibly about 4 disruptions. Standby phase, add back to the hand our LZ Azamina for a follow-up. We have the Senjin Millennium activating to put itself in the background to summon itself onto the field, searching our deck for another Senjin, as we already have the Golem. Normal summon Lacrima Crimson. We're going to flip down the special summon monster, say goodbye to the Senjin, as the Crimson tier is resolving to send from the deck here an Engraver. We're now going to be linking off the Crimson tier into the Requiem. Requiem will quick play summon from the deck as we chain the Debtors to perform our fusion summon play. Reveal, Sylvia, send, Deception. Sylvia negate is here, mate. As we summon an Engraver from the deck, we did not use the effect of Engraver Engrave yet to reborn. Now the Requiem equipped onto the Engraver is going to force the activation of Sylvia potentially, where otherwise if we had the Slumber, we could have flipped this face down to stop it from activating. Send to the grave, Sylvia is going to negate. Now, Sylvia is negating an effect that sends to the grave by sending itself to the grave, and it also does not destroy the card. So essentially what you wanted me to do, I ended up doing anyway, as we're now going to Engraver Reborn from the graveyard. We still have the Aphis. Target cards in the field. We could return the sequence back before it activates, which we did not. When are we doing this? Target up the number of Fusion and Synchro on your field and graveyard that are Fiend, Illusion, and Spellcaster. Maybe this could return up to 2 cards right now. We're waiting for a bigger commitment before bouncing the cards back. As we now go into a Little Knight, which we're possibly now going to be forced into activating our Aphis. As we target it with the Little Knight, trigger the effect of Lacrima to burn for 1200. Aphis is going to be targeting only face-up cards, or it is any cards, so we didn't want to return the Senjin back to the hand here. As we're also going to chain the Little Knight to dodge being returned back to the extra deck so that we ensure that we come back during the end phase. And now we're left with a Scourge, which requires a Synchro monster to be on the field. Do we have a way to get a Synchro on the field? I don't think so. We could special summon Sylvie, and that's it. I think we're done. Yoink that token. We were able to place the token in the proper position for us to steal it with the Anima. Let's summon the Golem, searching for the Wedju Temple, further going into the Nightmare Phoenix, which will give the final confirmation of what that card is, which it is nothing. Wow. Ovi, we drew 3 from Parelia. That was definitely a big advantage for us within this game. And also, I think our deck on a baseline is a bit better than White Forest for now. White Forest has unreleased support, which should be coming soon. Maybe within the very next pack, we're going to have that new White Forest support where we could see a deck like White Forest not be tier 1, but maybe tier 2 in a meta with Ryzeal and Maliss dominating everything. Let's speed this up. We have Apollo, Triple Monster Negate, Hydrant, search our deck mate for the Turbulence. We're going to send our 2 backward to summon our Doomed Dragon. We're going to be reborning our Turbulence with the Rescue, set up to 4 cards in the deck, which generally results in 3 forms of disruption, a pop, a negate, and a flip face down mate. We have the Hydrant allowing a newly set card to be activatable to search our deck for the Preventer. Further going into the Moon of the Closed Heaven, I thought we were done with the Fiendsmith nonsense. As we banish from the graveyard to summon the Preventer to go into a Promethean Princess, we're now going to trigger Preventer to reborn a banished card. Promethean's going to further reborn a monster from Engrave. As we further go into the Salamangreat, Raging Phoenix, and our turn. What can we do now? We could flip a monster face down, we could negate, we could pop. We're going to negate a card within the end phase, the effect of Sylvie trying to reborn. It's a hard once return effect. And then we have 2 more monster negates. 5 forms of disruption plus the Little Knight and the Promethean Engrave. So it's 7. Among 7 disruption, we're going to use the Apollo to negate the effect of the standby to add a card back from Engrave. We're going to use the Sylvie to reborn, as we're now going to be chaining the Little Knight to banish away the Azamina Fusion. We still can pop, negate, flip down, negate again, and pop with the Promethean Princess. We have the Debtors, which is going to be banishing to reborn the Sylvia. The Apollo's negating the effect of returning back, not the Sylvie. As we now have the Sylvia activating to negate the Preventer effect of flipping a monster face down. Negate. What do we have left? Negate, pop, pop, negate. 2 negate, 2 pops. We now have Toy Box, which is going to not be popped because we only have monster pop effects, setting up to 2 toys from the deck. LZ Azamina attempting to special summon itself onto the field. Our final negate on the Apollo is now gone. We have 3 targeting negates. If we have some way to make ourselves untargetable, that'd be great. We are going to be targeted and destroyed by the Extinguish. And with that left, we can contain, or we could pop with the Promethean Princess. We have LZ searching for the Rusia. Rusia could special summon. Toy Soldier's going to trigger to reborn. We have Promethean Princess on a special summon, triggering to pop 2 cards in the field, our own plus the opposing monster. And now we're left with just contain. Target an effect monster and lock it in. Negated. And not only do you negate it, it cannot be used to summon a monster from the extra deck. It's just stuck on the field. We have a way to send it to the graveyard through another card effect. That could be good. As we special summon the Rusia, Ovi's got 0 disruption. This is Slayton's chance to draw an Eldritch. Okay, yeah, we did that. We drew the Eldritch. And Eldritch can reborn as 3,500 attack. Let's now go into Ryzeal. Ryzeal is here on summon, searching our deck for a Woes of the White Forest, which can be used during the opponent's turn. Eldritch is going to come forth as 3,500 attack on the field. Ovi is completely spent. Show me the play. If we could summon the Synchro that gives like double piercing over the Hydra. Oh my gosh, we timed out when I think we would have won. Whoa. Damn. No way. I think we had that, right? Like double piercing and clear up the field. Oh man, that sucks. Slayton, I feel really bad for you, my friend. I appreciate you. Hopefully in game 2, you're now going to be able to go first. Did you go first this duel? I forget. Let's keep it. Yeah, you did go first. You'll go first again. Delta will invite an Eldritch from the deck by sending it to the grave. We're going to send the toy tank to summon the Eldritch from engrave. Do we have a way to get the Eldritch back in the field to make use of the Conquistador, which if you control an Eldritch Golden Lord, only then do you destroy a face-up card in the field non-targeting. We have the Sylvia, which will negate anything, Baron to Floor, which will negate anything, Diabel, which will flip the entire field face down. We have a Floodgate with the Rivalry. We have a negate with the Scourge. We have flip a monster face down with the Slumber. About 6 forms of Disrupt. Senjin is going to be playing itself into the back row. We're waiting for the activation of the spell effect to summon from the back row, as the Baron de Floor will negate and destroy, where Apollo would have to negate it from the hand. We now have Wedju Temple. We're going to Conquistador chain summon to trigger the effect of the Silhouette Rabbit to pop a back row card before it activates. It has to activate in the open game state to put a monster in the back row and then a monster from the deck into the back row. We're going to summon our Diablo Star. Diablo Star is going to not get destroyed, not get banished. It's going to stay on the field as the Sylvia negates. Could still flip it face down with the Slumber if we'd like to. We're going to follow up Alert. Alert by activating a card, which is going to be adding a Rescue Ace from the graveyard to the hand. We're going to use the Scourge. This was a very interesting chain link situation where the Diabel has to be the direct chain link to a card activation. And then on the higher chain link, Scourge, a negate, which does not have to be the direct chain mate. Since it's not negating the effect, it's negating the card. We're going to target the Alert and negate and also still summon from the extra deck to flip the Diablo Star face down. Also reborning the, Diabel reborning with the effect resolution of the Scourge and also negating, and we get to flip you face down. Flip it, and a Stellar will trigger to reborn from engrave. This deck's got some cool plays. Just don't reveal that you play Rivalry. That's cringe. Let's set back onto the field. It also is a good strategy to not showcase that, as they will have a game 3, and you don't want Ovi to know that. Now, Silvera has the very cool effect of Illusions gain 500 attack, and also they inflict double piercing battle damage. So you'd want to attack with Diabel, double pierce. Instead of 1k, we got 2k, and lethal with the Eldritch. Interesting. We didn't use the Conquistador with Eldritch to be a form of disruption to pop a face-up card, but instead we used it with Silhouette Rabbit's effect to pop a face-up spell and trap, or it could be any back row card that it pops. 1-1. We have now officially made up for the game 1 loss of timing out. Let's see what happens in game 3. Senjin, activate, put itself in the back row, pay 2,000 life, special summon, search our deck. We have no Floodgate whatsoever, but we do have a board breaker through the Triple Tactics Thrust. Okay, we have flip a monster face down. We have destroy a monster, then it cannot be active for the rest of the turn. We could contain, negate a monster, it cannot attack. It also can't be used for the extra deck. We have a monster negate, monster negate, monster negate. We have Promethean Princess pop on special summon mate. And we have Max C. Do you want to count Jerusalem as a disruption? Probably, right? 8 forms of disruption. I'm not going to count the secondary effect of Jerusalem, since it does not look like we have a good way to trigger it unless we use Promethean Princess, which we could then maybe turn this into 9 disruption, but it's mostly going to be 8 with Max C, which will allow us to now use Thrust. We could Thrust any normal spell in the hand. Now, Talent will not be activatable because they have to activate a monster effect within the main phase. What are we grabbing? Ultimate Slayer will ultimately deal with just 1 card. That 1 card being 3 forms of disruption, so it's a pretty good disruption here. Get rid of the Apollo, as we're now down to 5 disruption. Draw a card, return a card back. Only 5. Alzet's going to send the toy to summon, search our deck for a Sylvie. We are drawing from Maxi, of course. We're now going to use the Bestial Jerusalem to banish away the toy soldier. We were counting that as a form of disruption. And we're now possibly going to get that additional disruption at Jerusalem if we pop it with our Promethean. Well, we actually can't. We have to pop a fire, so I guess I was wrong on that. Contain is going to contain the Sylvian. What really sucks here, usually if this gets Impermanence or Veilored, you laugh at the opponent because you now synchro it away. We can't. It's stuck on the field because Hydrant gives the additional ability of not being able to use the Sylvie. Can't even attack. No attack. Can't synchro. And we're going to flip it face down in the end phase. Holy moly. Anti-spell fragrance, just like that. Any spell has to be set now to be used. So Call by the Grave is dead. If we search for a spell, it's dead. We have Airlifter grabbing from the deck with the effect of the Hydrant. We have Nightmare Phoenix, which will discard a card to pop a back row. We don't care about the anti-spell fragrance. We had the option to pop it. We chose the Slumber instead, which will flip the already summoned monster Hydrant face down. We could just flip it right back up. But we are within a window where the card cannot be used, but that window actually never existed because we now have Lifter on the field. Engraver, Reborn. I'm trying the best to make something out of nothing here. We just are screwed. Let's just speed this up. Scourge is nothing. Goodbye to LZ. Damn, Ovi. Absolute clappage here. 11,000 damage on the field. Finish him. Match 1 to Ovi. Thank you, Slayin, for bringing something interesting to the Meta Weekly. Ovi also not playing Maliss or Ryzeal. I do commend him for that. Let's hop into another epic match. Dormouse activating to banish from the deck. We waited with the Lancia, which is a risk. They could have had a March Hare in hand plus another Maliss to banish it in response. And thus the Lancia does what it does, which ensures Maliss only ends on one monster and nothing else. Now, despite ending on just one monster, they still have a monster negate and a special summon negate. Sanctuary setting up the Fire King Island. Island is going to pop Nibiru, not even popping a fire monster to search for our Alcanix. Alcanix activating to perform the same effect of the Fire King Island. We're going to dodge the negate. You're targeting me, mate. How about I negate your special summon? Very well done from Lucas. Negate the targeting dodge effect of popping the Alcanix. Alcanix now gets negated, and all forms of our disruption are now gone. We have Dormouse triggering to Reborn back onto the field. We wouldn't want to activate Artifact Lancia early as it would turn off our own Maliss in the mirror. Lancia otherwise against Fire King is going to be quite useless. As we top deck an Impulse, we have the White Rabbit, which is a one-card combo, but Veiler negates that one-card combo play. If we had a way to make the Lizard Dose, we could just get a second body in the field. We could banish the Dormouse and Grave, or at least make a Splash Mage. Back-to-back Impulse negate the Fire King Kirin. But we can't stop it again, but it gets destroyed. Now, destroying Kirin, why didn't it activate? It needs another Fire King in the hand or in graveyard to reborn to the non-target pop a card in the field. By destroying the Alcanix, it will trigger to summon a monster from the deck, the Garunix. Avatar Garunix is here. Lancia cannot even be activated anymore as we're locked out. Light, Earth, and Wind are not allowed to be activated. Let's Fire King Island and very easily clean up this duel. Garunix, when added, triggering because the fire monster was destroyed. Trigger, pop a card from the deck. And I almost, in a way, I was getting quite used to the New World's rule that they're not allowed to surrender no matter what, which I understand for time constraints and annoyance of the players and convenience to them. We still want to allow them to surrender outside of the grand finale. That's okay. I think Konami enforced the rule to train their AI, and for no other reason, not for a better viewer experience or some other nonsense. Dormouse banished from the deck, our Chessie. Chessie come forth, did not use Imperm on Dormouse. That is wild. What are we saving the Imperm for? Did not use Ash on Chessie. That is wild. We're going to set a GWC with the effect of the White Rabbit as the Link Decoder is now here. Let's link all three into the Red Ransom. Red Ransom is chain link blocked by the Link Decoder from the Ash. Now we could use the Imperm. Now, is it wild to not be using Imperm if you have a Nibiru? Nibiru changes your use of impermanence, definitely. Imperm is now instead saved for the Nibiru for a full blowout. And the Ash can be used to blow out the opponent on maybe them banishing the Mouse and Mirror if they're dependent on that. Or if we're not careful, we don't chain link block our White Binder, we banish it and try to bring it back. We Ash that, and well, there is a crossout designator, unfortunately, but the thought of it is still a good idea. Dormouse is being banished from the deck here. Let's further go into the Splash Mage. Now, we're doing it. So I would say, what are we trying to accomplish with the Nibiru if we're saving at the last possible moment? We do not want the opponent to summon a white binder. If we feel like we could stop them from summoning binder, that is when we want to whip out the Nibiru. We could chain the Imperm, of course, to negate. Or at least we thought. This is why you don't do this. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't save Imperm for Nibiru? No, that's okay. But you don't do this. What is this? This is Nibiru chaining Imperm. What you instead should do, hear me out. You just Imperm. And if it resolves with the toggle on, then you Nibiru. Why? What's the difference here? Well, if you Imperm, they cross out and you go, okay, now I'm not gonna Nibiru on the resolution, but I still have Ash. So when you catch them with their pants down as they try to resolve an effect that you Ash and then you try to negate with the Apollo, then we chain Nibiru to the Apollo activating. The Apollo will not negate the Ash. They'll keep the binder banished. They're going to be stuck like that if they don't chain link block it. And then you still benefit from the Nibiru and you still benefit from the impermanence. Just, you know, don't do this. Is that understandable on how to do this differently? Negate. Hard once per turn activated Nibiru. Negate. And now we can't even get good use of Ash. Imperm would have comboed with Nibiru, then Ash would have comboed with the Nibiru. Oh boy, banish as GWC. This is where you'd Ash. That's it. Ash the effective binder, and then negate, and then chain Nibiru. If you don't negate, your binder's banished, mate. Let's set this up. Set GWC into the back row as we further go into a Firewall Dragon. What do we have? We have non-target banish, monster negate, return a card back to the hand that is a monster, negate with the Apollo, negate with the Ash, negate with the impermanence. We're now down to 5 forms of disruption as we mouse in the mirror, negate the Volcanics, which you would think they possibly would have a Kirin to dodge that. They unfortunately didn't. Now we did have Apollo to negate the Kirin. It's also public knowledge that Nibiru is in their hand, and Maliss loves to special summon during the opponent's turn, which the Nibiru probably would be turned on. All right, 1-1. Let's hop into game 3. Volcanics. We're going to Imperm, negate, Kirin dodge the Imperm. No, why can't Umbra draw Kirin more? Kirin was kind of recently unlimited. Now, if the Volcanics dies in any way, we're going to be able to use the Garunix to trigger a form of disruption on top of our Ashen Veiler. Unfortunately, the Lancia gets fingered on the very third duel. Negate and banish. Lucas has to be careful. How do we not destroy the Volcanics while also playing around other hand traps? We have Veiler negating the Dormouse. Dormouse wants to banish a March Hare. Well, the Underground could banish it instead. And if they're adding a card to the hand, you would think in general you could use Ash, right? No. But instead of banishing the March Hare, we're going to banish a White Rabbit. White Rabbit's going to send to the back row, GWC. We're going to focus on when the Ash will actually become activatable. As the Splash Mage is now here, splash it up, reborn the Dormouse, further going into the Red Ransom. Red Ransom can be negated by Ash, but if they already use the field spell, I would not Ash the Red Ransom. GWC, banish the Red Ransom, reborn the Dormouse, trigger the Red Ransom to come forth out, and then banish from the deck our Chessie. Looks like we're just going to have to negate Chessie. We did not. Okay, draw 2. We're just going to wait for a more impactful Ash, which we're going to Ash the effect of Mirror itself to search our deck. We wouldn't even be triggering the White Rabbit. It was already banished this turn. We would just be searching for a March Hare. As we now go into the Link decoder here, further linking this up into the Hearts Cryptor. We're locked out of summoning Apollo to negate the Volcanics, but we could just banish it with the Cryptor. Non-target banish. Garunix was hoping that Volcanics could be destroyed in some way. Is this lethal? Of course it is not. We don't have a way to banish the Cryptor. Even if we did, we didn't resolve the effect of Dormouse to boost it by plus 600 to give it lethal. Now, do we have a banish card to even banish a Cryptor? We don't. Cryptor has no effect here that's relevant. We have Impulse, negate a special summon. We have Droll, we have Ash, triple disruption. As we use the Impulse to negate the special summon effect. If you control no monster, special summon from the hand. You what, mate? Negate with impulse. And because you tried to, is destroying optional? Did you really just allow him to use the Sanctuary to pop the Garunix? But that doesn't even trigger an effect anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think it's optional. Then if you have a trap, oh, you have to destroy. It is not you can destroy if you have a trap. It is destroy it if you have a trap. Yeah. Imagine if that actually, that could have played into a bad scenario. If we had another fire monster to destroy, that would then trigger Garunix and pop off from there. We'll get Pireliad. Every summon for the hand will result in a draw. Thus, we're going to Ash. Negate. Chain. Lancia. Mate. Okay. You cannot banish for the rest of the turn. We were not called by the grave, fingering your Pirellia. Let's now Sanctuary set up the Fire King Island. This does ensure that our Ash will not be fingered. So very good. Make sure to protect your Ash. As we Ash, negate the Volcanic's effect of summoning from the deck, which could then result into a zombie vampire to then mill 4 cards off both players' decks and then summon a monster among that and then pop off from there. Because we instead have this, what are our forms of disruption? Surely this does something. It doesn't. It's crap. Fire King Garunix does not like being destroyed. Nothing happens when it gets destroyed. It likes when other cards are destroyed. So we just have a finger and a max C. What do we have off of that? We have X Ryzeal sending Aggregator, Chainlink blocking the X from potentially getting Ash Blossomed, as we're going to negate the Fire King Sanctuary's effect of if you special summon perform and exceeds with another monster that we don't even have in the field. We're going to call by the grave, finger the max C. Not today. Negate. Funky with just Call by the Grave has to hopefully survive a turn. I don't see how that's possible. Let's speed this up. Special summon the sword. Search for the ice. We did not commit to a normal summon. We don't even have to fear Nibiru as we still properly play around. It looks like we're going to set up the cross in the 4th summon. 5th summon into the detonator as we attach the aggregator from engrave. Further going into the duo drive. Search our deck for a plug-in and a plasma hole. We're going to return 2 cards back in the deck to draw 1. We're going to chain plug-in Reborn as we're now going to be drawn randomly into a Tachyon. Dugaris will be boosting up Detonator to 6,000 attack, 9,700. Turn Dugaris into a Utopic Ray Lancer. Reduce their attack by 500. When destroyed by battle, activate to attack directly again. 25 as we have 6K Detonator for game. Nicely done. Well done. There is a small little ruling here, I believe. Okay, where's the ruling? Okay, so this is the ruling. I have 2 Ryzeal cards in grave, and I have 1 plugin. Can't use both, right? You have to return them back. You reborn one, then you don't have the other one in graveyard. But we use the ruling of first we use the effect to return 2, then reborn one of them, which you would think that should turn off the effect. Why are you able to draw if both cards are not still in the graveyard? How can you return just 1 and still draw? So to make this a legal activation, there has to be 2. But on the resolution, since it says place them to then draw 1 is still satisfied if at least one of them is returned. It does not say place both to the bottom of the deck, otherwise you'd have to replace both. So just that small little ruling of being able to exactly with 2 and use plugin and draw across. Small detail, but definitely write that down. Going first with Engraver, searching our deck for a Fiendsmith Tract. A Drone Lockbird would hurt here. We don't have that. We have Tract, further searching for the Lurie. When are we whipping out the Full Loss? Well, we may be Full Lossing now before they summon a Requiem, or we're going to wait for the commitment of the Requiem activating to summon for the deck. Or we're going to Ash it. We have options here. Do we negate the Requiem, or do we Full Loss? We could think about using Ash first, thinking that it might get fingered or cross out designated, and then follow up with the Full Loss. Because if Full Loss gets negated, we cannot follow up with Ash. It would be safer to Ash, but we're going to go for the Full Loss instead. Did not get negated, no Ash, no fingered, no cross out, as we're now drawing per summon. We can droll the effect of them drawing, and then we could still perform our full Fiendsmith plays. We're not stopped by draw whatsoever beyond the Engraver searching our deck for the Tract. That's exactly what we do. I think Droll is a great card to use if you want to have a decent use of it against Ryzeal, but beyond that, I would only pretty much use Droll before Ryzeal came out if you could Droll yourself and still make great plays, which is obviously what we're doing here. No care for Droll, not allowing us to add from the deck as we continue to make our plays, making the sequence into the Desiree. Desiree is going to be equipped with the sequence. We now have a non-target negate. What are our forms of disruption? We have the ability to non-target negate and Droll. Double disruption, the Kieran's pretty much doing nothing. Aggregator cannot negate the Desiree, but it could still chain link block the Ryzeal as we negate the Fiendsmith sequence. Now, the sequence has the effect of making the Desiree untargetable. So now the Desiree can be targeted by something else. We're going to draw Lockbird, and then we are ready on when we want to negate with Desiree. Detonator is here. To battle we go. Simply, we're bigger. We're going to use the other effect of Desiree to, within the damage steps, send the Detonator to the graveyard. It is send, not destroy. Otherwise, the Detonator would protect itself from being destroyed. Follow up with the node Ryzeal. Let's speed this up. Send a card, reborn, make a second copy of the Detonator, attach the Aggregator from Engrave. So we passed on the hard once return of attaching a card from Engrave, knowing that it would die to the Desiree, so that we could just summon another copy. We have pop, 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 negate with Aggregator, pop with the Plasma Hole, and negate with the Ash. 6 forms of disruption. Good luck. Engraver, come forth. We try to attach a Requiem. If it were Engraver, the Detonator could just pop it. We are going to send Lancia from the hand to summon our Diablo, start activating the set from the deck into the original Sinful. Ash can negate the original Sinful. As we send Diablo to summon from the deck, nothing. Negate. As if the 5 forms of disruption with Detonator and Plasma Hole were not enough, we also have our Ash. Well, if you didn't feel hopeless yet, we're going to Requiem summon from the deck Engraver. If we try to attach it, we could wipe away the Engraver, which is exactly what we're doing. Now down to 4 forms of disruption. Pop, 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 and a negate with the Aggregator, which probably will not result in an actual form of disrupt. Kieran was just dead for 2 turns in a Fire King deck. How is that possible? No other fire monster to pop. I thought we're a fire deck. Let's set up the cross, and we have more than enough for lethal damage, or exactly lethal damage. 8,000 damage. 2-0. Feel like Fire King didn't really Fire King in either duel. What the heck? Engraver, search our deck for the Fiendsmith Tract. As we're going to Droll and Lockbird, disallow the activation of Tract. As I said earlier, Droll is great against Fiendsmith only if Engraver is searching Tract. If they're already able to make a Requiem, then Droll does nothing. You could Droll yourself as a Fiendsmith player. We're going to start this off with our Mouse in Underground. Banish the Dormouse. Come forth. We just have Ash. As we're going to banish the Chessie, Chessie will attempt to draw 2. We could Ash that. Negate. Now, I do have a finger for your Ash mate, or I could save it for something better. You can pretty much see how immensely ineffective a hand trap is when the opponent chooses to not even bother negating it, which is exactly what happened. We don't care. You identify you already have lethal if the Ash resolves, which we obviously do, so you save the finger for something else. We're going to Magnum Hunt, banish away our Engrave Cryptor. Cryptor reborn. Cryptor's going to be super boosted, 5,600, 9,700 with the Call by the Grave save for a better hand trap, and it never happens. Well done. Finger discipline, very important. Hand trap discipline. Learn the best moments on when to stop a hand trap or when to use a hand trap. Extra chromas. Oh, okay. We are going to Sinful Lost to summon Diablo Star, set up our original Sinful. Original Sinful, get ashed, negate. Virus? What are you even playing? This is a Dragon Link deck before the new Dragon Link cards. Well, that is unfortunate. We're just getting completely stopped. We don't even want to make a Moon of the Closed Heaven. Normal summon a hand trap? Nah? Okay. Well, we're going to set our back row bluffed card so that when we Gold Sark summon our monster, you're going to maybe think twice on using a Veiler or Imperm onto it. Maxi, in response to the Dormouse, Ash, negate the Maxi. Now, just Ash. Now, Baldrake can be a form of disruption. It's going to be best used on probably when they're going to a Splash Mage trying to reborn a monster, if that monster was not already banished. Then you have the Baldrake. When they summon a monster from the extra deck, we could banish that monster on summon, but if it is a Maliss link, it will just trigger when banished. Since it does not negate the summon like a card Sarvis the Ritual does, we're going to Baldrake right now. Banish that White Rabbit. As we're going to GWC, dodge the banish effect of the Baldrake, thus the secondary effect of the Baldrake will not be activatable to banish a monster from the extra deck. Come forth, White Rabbit. Further link this up, we just have Splash Mage now. There is a hope, a cope, that they're going to not chain link block the White Binder, or maybe we can negate a Malice and Mirror, or we're just going to negate the Red Ransom. Negate the Red Ransom, mate. We're going to flip up the MTP, banish, add from the deck the March Hare. Virus, I am sorry, but I am so immensely excited for a mad lad like you with the new Rocket cards, which I did look at recently on the World stream. The new Link 5, which is a pretty good Nibiru check. And even if they do Nibiru you off of a one-card combo, you still have follow-up of going into the Fusion. The Fusion then easily makes a Borland alongside. You have at least 9 one-card combos with the new Rocket deck, which we're probably not going to see until next year, by the way, that result in a Link 5 Omni Negate, Link 5 Borland, and the Borload Synchro for another Omni Negate. And it also has pretty good inherent hand trap resilience, especially through a Nibiru. But that day is not today. 2-0, let's hop in another one. What? Well, we have no play, and Fool Loss is activatable if we don't set or play anything, as the Ash will negate the Fool Loss. Maliss has about 11 one-card starters when the magic number is 12. So if you want to statistically reach that magic number where the one-card starters starts to fall off in terms of benefit for your deck, that 12th card could be a single Allure of Darkness for that reason. Ryzeal has 12 one-card starters. They have that perfect spread if you're going to play the 7 Tachyon as the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Let's Max C activate, Call by the Grave, Finger My C, ain't no way, mate. We now have Trudea, summon for the back row, then put itself in the back row to play a Gargoyle, Gargoyle summon for the back row into a Legacia. Legacia on summon will draw a card with the option to destroy an opposing monster. Gargoyle's channeling block in the draw, as the Druid Swarm is going to negate the ability for Gargoyle to add back to the hand. Not today. The effect of Wake Up Centurion could summon a token onto the field. We have the Emblema Oath setting up the Atri to draw another card. Draw 1, draw 2, don't mind if I do. To the battle phase we go. We have the Wake Up Centurion. Normally, you don't trigger the field spell on your own turn. You just simply synchro within main phase because you can. Now we're doing so in the battle phase to help further play around something like a Nibiru. This is smart. We're going to summon the Auxilla within the battle phase, searching for a Primera, take out the Druid Swarm, which will send a card to the graveyard, a special summon monster that is. 3,500 to the face. Legacia is huge. Wake Up Centurion secondary effect is going to send for the deck to the grave the Phalanx, which could reborn the Auxilla from engrave. As Legacia sets into the back row our Atri, we do have the ability to Druid Swarm banish. We could synchro with the field spell into a disruption. We could imperm negate a monster. Could maybe draw into a hand trap. Let's see what's good. Nothing's good. Bro, Maliss with no... I think you're on Maliss. You got to be on Maliss. How did you brick on Maliss? Finally, we have a play. We're going to Maliss and Underground, away, banish the Dormouse. We unfortunately have no negate for the Maxi, mate. When I finally have a play, you then ruin the duel with the C as the Dormouse banishes the March Hare to add back to the hand here. How much do we want to commit under Max C? We're going to at least Chessie, attempt to banish the March Hare, which was already banished, but we do get to draw 2, possibly into other forms of hand traps here. Negate. Do we end on nothing? What? We got nothing. Lancia against Centurion has to be absolutely crap, right? That can't be good if we were to take a gander for some cope. If we have something, we could on the filter type in Centurion and then type in the word banish. What banishes? This can, I guess, stop them from being able to reborn a monster from engrave. This doesn't banish. This effect to banish to send the trap. Chaos Angel, if they want to banish, I guess you could stop that. That would be the only real play that you're actually stopping with Lancia. So in resolution, it does nothing. The Blazar Dragon being able to negate on your own turn would maybe you'd want to use Lancia before the Blazar could do something like that. Otherwise, it's no good. We also have the secret effect. It is quite secret. The Primus does not just search, but it also, on the resolution of the search, non-target destroyed 2 cards in the field. A lot of people never see that coming, which we did get to make good use of. We're going to Artifact Lancia, try to stop the Magnum Hut, as we're just going to call by the grave. Finger the Lancia, not today. Shoot. That was really unfortunate for Morpho. In the World Championship, it said that Maliss had an 80% win rate when going first, but to be fair, cards like Lancia were not able to be used as much as players wanted within Worlds because of the shared card system. The 3 main shared cards being Maxi, Ash, and Called By. Anything that's not those 3 cards, they were restricted among their 6 different decks of only being able to abide by, even up to their ban list restriction. So if a card like Crossout Designator is limited to 1 deck out of 6 could play 1 Crossout Designate. You what, mate? Let's synchro with the field spell into Legacia. Legacia is going to draw a card here as we're going to be further grabbing the Baldrake, resolve the effect, put a Gargoyle into the back row. We're going to be able to synchro with the field spell. We do have Ash Blossom also as a form of disruption. Baldrake can banish, also could banish a monster from the extra deck. Maybe about 4 forms of disruption. We could probably draw into a hand trap with the Atry or the Regained. Hopefully, we'll be keeping track of that. If you're a non-turn player with Regained and you're playing against Maliss, Regained is now a disruption. The turn player optional banish effect will activate to summon. Regained on the higher chain link being the non-turn player will return that card attempting to be special summoned back into the deck, and you can, with precision, wait for them to activate, and then you choose to return it back, stopping the summon. Magnum Hut is going to chain, banish our Dormouse. Baldrake is going to deny the summon of the Magnum Hut by banishing the same targeted Dormouse. It will still be triggering to summon itself onto the field here. And then we do have the ability of Baldrake ready to banish a monster summon for the extra deck. Splash Mage would be a great banish. Banishing a Mouse Link would not be too good of an idea. We're going to Magnum Hut, further trigger to search our deck during the end phase or from the graveyard. A try, draw a card. Druisarm is going to further be adding itself to the field here, banishing our own Primera. Now, if we synchro with the Druisarm, that will trigger the effect to send a special summon monster to the grave. And that is what we're doing. We're going into the Dissipator, trigger the Druisarm, send the Dormouse to the graveyard before it activates. Ain't no way. Summon a Foolos into the Almirage. Do we want to banish that? Sure, let's get rid of it. Almirage is going to jump off the field, dodging the banishment, and we unfortunately get 2-0'd by Centurion. Nuts. Good job, Centurion. Happy to see you in the top 8. I root for the decks, not the players. Morpho, you're great. I appreciate you, mate. But any less Ryzeal or Maliss that makes the top 8, that is what I want. Max C in the draw phase. I'm going to finger your C negate. Now, there is this strategy with Max C. I know where, what do you mean? You just activate it. If you have another hand trap, you have the situation where you could try to throw out that other hand trap, see if they negate it, and then you Max C afterward. Or you also have some players where they activate Max C in the Droll and Lockbird window, and then they add Droll on top of it. We have the ability to pop, 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 and negate. 6 disruptions. Wait, did I overcount that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 disruptions. Lure Darkness, banishing the March Hare, add back to the hand here. Can't really activate the Underground without it getting popped, as we banish away the White Rabbit. And this means that when the inevitable ban list comes out and it just hits Gold Sark and everyone cries that Konami sucks, which they do, and the ban list will still suck, Gold Sark is much better than Underground when it comes to Ryzeal because it doesn't get popped. Let's, for our first pop of our 4 other forms of disruption ready, wipe away the March Hare, cross-negate the effect of the White Rabbit trying to summon. White Rabbit on field, activate to set a card from the back row. Now that card we set will not even be activatable because we need the Maliss on field to banish to even activate it. We can't even activate the Maliss in Underground because the detonator has another pop. We'd rather end our turn. We'd rather just, then even activate the field spell because we don't want to give them that satisfaction of popping us. We're dealing with the Sea, Veiler, Impermanence Maxi not getting negated. We're going to set the MTP. Why didn't we Veiler? Well, a lot of you can be thinking, obviously you don't use Veiler or Impermanence if they have a back row card. Well, then that back row card should be a fake back row card in your many other duels where you should set that card and then they don't even want to use their disruption to stop it. Well, what is Small World doing in this deck? This is a budget version of the 7 Tachyon, which unfortunately is an ultra rare, but the Small World itself is super rare. So there you go. Budget Ryzeal is here, unless we're playing in addition to the copies of 7 Tachyon. Now, the Heart's Cryptor right now can be negated by Impermanence, stopping it from non-target banishing, but if we summon any monster where it's pointing to, even if it was negated previously, even with the skill drain already face up on the field, you summon the Cryptor and it's not pointing to something, it does not get negated. And I made the mistake of saying that this was the only card in the game that has this effect of going through a negate, a godlike crazy effect. Fool loss for our turn, as we're going to Imperm, negate the Cryptor, even though they could very easily play around that. We're going to free to play 7 Tachyon, add from our deck an X Ryzeal. Because we also have, in addition to the non-target banish, another non-target banish and a special summon negate. We're going to negate the field spell just to chain link block and get the aggregator in graveyard, sure. Now we're going to non-target banish. We're going to Ash negate the non-target banish, but we could still non-target banish with the Cryptor. We just summon a monster to where it's pointing to. Do we want to make that commitment? Looks like we do. March Hare summoning to where the Cryptor is. Cryptor now has the ability to return a banish card to banish away the X Ryzeal. What are we accomplishing here? We don't want Sword to be special summonable. Now, to play around them doing this because the aggregator didn't have a good card to negate, we could have sent Duo Drive to the grave instead. With Duo Drive and Grave, it doubles up as a card that allows you to special summon Node and special summon your Sword. But with just aggregator and Grave, Sword cannot special summon now. So we're going to Triple Tactics Talent, draw 2. Come to me up the top of the deck. Ice and Node are the 2 cards that can be negated by the Impulse. What do we want to Impulse? We're going to Impulse you. And with the Trap and Grave, it also destroys. But now the Sword Ryzeal is special summonable. Or is it? This, I think, would be a great opportunity. They have not committed to a normal summon. They already committed to a normal summon. If we could summon our Binder. Do we have a Binder? Where's our Binder? No Binder. Binder, banish the Ice, banish the Aggregator, and then you can't summon Sword, you can't summon Node. That is what I would definitely do if we had access to Binder, which we don't. Summon the Sword, search for the Ice. Ice could special summon from the hand. We have the Cross as we exceed into our Duo Drive. On summon attached from Engrave, a Ryzeal card. We are spent. Damn, what the heck? As we search our deck for a Star Ryzeal and a Plasma Hole. Special summon the Node, send the Plasma Hole, which can be used aggressively within the battle phase. We can perform an Exceed summon as we now make our Ryzeal Detonator. Ryzeal Detonate, on summon, attach back the Aggregator. Cross is going to be going for a what? We return the Plasma Hole back in the deck instead of using it to Exceed during the battle phase. As we set into the back with the Plasma Hole instead, we're now going to make a Utopic Ray Lancer, which will reduce the entire field by 500 attack. Now, what are these benefits onto the Cryptor? The White Rabbit would make it so you take no battle damage. Right now, this card is untargetable and cannot be destroyed by card effect, which does not matter. Let's take out the Cryptor. Activate the effect to attack again within the battle phase. It's not going to be inflicting piercing battle damage. We are... You don't gain a floating attack for the rest of the turn. You have to perform that second attack right there. So we thought that we could attack with Star, then do the second attack later. It's like you owe me a second attack later. No, it's right then and there. So instead, we'd have to Star attack, then activate, then attack directly. It can attack directly. Nonetheless, we're still okay. We have the 3 pop, a negate, a pop, a pop, a pop. Got 7 disruption. Wait, all the pops are gone because we Metal Tronus. This is why you play Metal Tronus, but this card could get Ash Blossomed, which is a huge downside to it. Otherwise, they can't chain the detonator, which would pop itself to then be reborn back with the plug-in. Wonderfully done by Hipster. This is why Metal Tronus is played. We're going to plug in, reborn, a duo drive to turn the cross back on. We're going to be able to negate and pop. Just 2 disruption. When I believe we had 7? From 7 disrupt, we knocked off 5 disruption with the Metal Tronus. I'd have to go back to more meticulously count the disruptions, but that is crazy. We have March Hare banishing from the graveyard here. We just have the pop of Plasma Hole. Now, don't get too excited. Plasma Hole, if we're not under a weird restriction here, which we're not, Plasma Hole could pop and summon a Zeus that we don't play. We don't play Zeus, never mind. All right, let's White Rabbit reborn back onto the field into a Lingaribo to lock down that Plasma Hole. And you would think, okay, you could still activate it. It goes to the graveyard. Lingaribo negates and banishes the trap. So the secondary effect of Exceeding during the opponent's turn, no good when banished. White Binder banishing from either player's graveyard. We're going to banish our Cryptor and our Hare. Reborn back onto the field here. As you can see, we're turn 3, meaning we got to go first. And if you go first, we of course have that massive advantage. Unfortunately, Ryzeal was not able to finish off the duel on turn 2. Cryptor is here. We have already used the effect to non-target banish. We have MTP to non-target banish. Banish away the Binder. We're going to draw a card and banish away that Plasma Hole. Get it out of here. Binder come back as we randomly have an Ash. Chessie draw 2 cards here. Allure of Darkness, don't mind if I do. Allure of Darkness usage is going up because of Lancia usage going down. You Lancia them in the draw phase, Allure is a dead card. They don't want to be playing that. But it's your fault on why this is now further making the deck even better. This is an incredible card, obviously. As we access code Talker, banish away the Splash Mage. That's 1 of 2 pops. Our second and final pop. Say goodbye to the Ray Lancer. And just like that, over 14,000 damage on the field. Metal Tronus won this. Metal Tronus for the win. Great. Metal Tronus is an example of a card that I wish Worlds players had the more viable option of being able to put it in almost all their decks to have that more widespread usage of being great against Ryzeal, not so good against Maliss. Obviously, it still has the usage of being able to negate a card in many circumstances, but because of the shared card system, we couldn't see spicy techs like that flourish because among the shared cards, they're forced to share at least Maxi and Ash, and then the majority had to share Call by the Grave alongside that. Let's hop into game 3. Ice, gun, give it to you. Summon from the deck, sword, searching our deck for the X, Ryzeal. Further going to the Banshee. Banshee activate, detach, search our deck for the Star Ryzeal. Detach for the Star, set up the Ryzeal Cross. Ryzeal Cross is here. If your first Xyz is not a Ryzeal, it is pretty much impossible for your second Xyz to be a Ryzeal within 5 summons. Because it's 3 summons to make an Xyz, right? 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, meaning that you would get Nibiru right here. So this plays bad into Nibiru, right? No, it doesn't, because it's properly set up to check for Nibiru, and if they Nibiru, you then follow up with the node Ryzeal. Those are the 2 ways to play through a Nibiru. Have the follow-up node, or make sure you have a Ryzeal Xyz plus the cross set up for, well, your first Xyz being a Ryzeal. We got our disruptions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Disrupt 7 with the Ash. We're going to Mouse and Mirror. Negate the Photon Blast Dragon, which was making the Duo Drive and Detonator completely untargetable, which gives us protection from a Metal Tronus. This could have maintained its protection even onto itself had we had another material under the Duo Drive. Dormouse is on the field. Activate the detonator, detach to wipe it away. Now, in response to the banished card activating to come forth, we could do a crazy play if we wanted to. If we really don't want the chassis to be activatable, even though we have Ash, we could use Detonator to pop one of our own cards. And maybe the already dead Photon Blast, since it's already negated. By detaching the Aggregator, it ensures that once the chassis comes out, it will be negated. I'm not saying you should do that, it's just an option. You could, of course, just use Cross to negate, as we also have the Ash Blossom Mate. Negate. We still got 3 more pops since the plugin gives us the additional pop. We are going to pop away the White Rabbit, of course, making sure to save a pop for that Maliss and Underground play. We do have the Gold Sark, which it would not get hit by the detonator. We're going to set GWC, activate the Gold Sark. Of course, the Cross also negated the White Rabbit from even setting a trap from the deck. Banish away the March Hare, add back to our hand here, and get ready for March Hare banishing a card from the grave, which we already banished Dormouse. We did not banish yet the White Rabbit, so banishing the White Rabbit is going to be our main play. Attach from the deck a Plasma Hole. Plasma Hole can be used to exceed someone during the opponent's turn if we have the right cards on the field. So if in your turn 1, it may seem weird to have an extra level 4 body, but that extra level 4 body enables a plugin, just a plugin and a level 4 on your turn 1. You can now summon a Bagooska during the opponent's turn as a quick effect Bagooska. Now, Bagooska is not that great against Maliss, obviously. We're going to Detonator detach the Plasma Hole to attempt to pop the GWC, banish away the Cryptor to reborn a banished or engraved monster. Now, what are we left with in terms of disruption? We have the Aggregator plus the ability to negate with the Aggregator. We also have Veiler and Veiler because we keep on drawing thanks to Max freaking C. For disruption here, detach the Aggregator to wipe away the Dormouse. Then the Aggregator can try to negate the Cryptor. Cryptor is going to be pointing to nothing unless we summon a monster into the extra zone, which we are not getting popped on Detonator. We were able to use up all of their pops, fully searching for an MTP, which is not that great, and we are using the Plasma Hole just like that into the Utopic Ray Lancer. Now, you can... I know this seems like you can't. You would think you have to do this at the end of the main phase, but trust me, bro. At the start of the battle phase, you could summon the Utopic Ray Lancer. Why summon it at the start, which we did not do? It will trigger. At the start of the battle phase, negate all attack position monsters the opponent controls. At the start is when you could summon it, not at the end of main. Reduce by 500 attack, though we had that additional effect as we now Little Knight. Little Knight. Unsummon, banish a card on the field or engrave, Veiler negates, chain Little Knight to dodge the Veiler, get Veiler again, right? 2 Veiler, 1 Little Knight, and just like that, we are completely expended. We did put up a pretty good fight. We were also under the effect of Max C, unfortunately. That's just what happens. End the turn. Back to you. MTP is going to be able to give us the ability to banish a Cryptor by adding a March Hare, so we still have at least that form of disruption. If it does not get negated by an Ash, for some reason we don't have an Ash among all these cards we drew off of Max C. There's the March Hare. Little Knights will, and we're in this window where the Cross can't negate any monster effects, so we really want to make it happen right now. Call by the Grave, finger the March Hare, which we are now screwed. That is that. That was our play. To get the Cryptor out, non-target banish away. We still would have definitely lost even if the Cryptor were to come out. And now we just have the Little Knight that is negated, the Light Dragon Ignister wipe away, and 7,800 damage for lethal. Ryzeal for the win. Some interesting scenarios here. I like the Utopic Ray Lancer a lot, especially the start of the damage step negate. I'm waiting for a tournament duel where that comes out at the start and it actually is a good full field of attack position negate. Ryzeal versus Ryzeal. We're gonna speed this up. It's gonna be quick. Now, what is this? We have negate, We also have pop, and then we could go into a detonator, which will be able to pop, pop, pop. That's about 6 forms of disruption. Or we just make a Baguska with this. What do you think about that? X Ryzeal. To the hand here, X is going to be sending Aggregator to negate the cross by negating it on a higher chain link, ensuring the cross now cannot negate the X Ryzeal from searching, so we just lost a negate. We have the Sword Ryzeal searching for the ice. Normally this is going to be a boring duel, but the Plasma Holic seizing during their turn is now making this exciting, all right? Pay attention, wake up. Oh, shite. Now we can't seize during their turn because the Plasma Hull is negated. Both effects are negated. Shite. Okay, look away. Ice summon from the deck. Detonator is here. Attached with Aggregate. Detach for the star. Set the cross. Cross is ready to negate a monster effect. We got Duo, Node, Send, Reborn. Are we going to make a Star Liege? We did. Now you can't imperm the Duo drive. Haha, got you. Nope, you can't do that. And now we're going to go into game 2. Ash and imperm. What do? Summon X. Imperm. Negate. I search for sword. I already have sword in my hand. Thank you. Search for ice. Summon ice. Summon for the deck. Star set. Cross. Cross is here. Ready to negate the Ash. Ash is no good. Now we have Star Liege. Duo detach. Going to negate because we're detaching off the Star Liege. Grab the node and a Plasma Hole. Cross, return 2, draw 1. Special, send the sword with the node, reborn the sword. Further go into a Baguska. Baguska it up. We have negate, pop, negate. Doesn't matter, mate. Baguska wins the mirror match. Detach for Baguska, and now Baguska is no longer in defense. We can make our own plays. This is the same energy of why Summon Limit was banned. I think it was banned in the TCG because you would limit your opponent's summons. It's a one-way floodgate, which is always super toxic. The floodgates are generally balanced because it floodgates yourself, which means you'd have to make some sort of a concession with your deck building or your deck type to either play around the floodgate or you just simply also get floodgated. But we just put it in attack position after floodgating them and not ourselves. Is Baguska going to get banned? Should it get banned? Is this a situation where Ryzeal gets Baguska banned? Because this deck already got another floodgate banned. Dweller got banned because of Ryzeal. Right before the release of Ryzeal release, we banned the Dweller, and maybe Baguska could get banned with Apollo tonight. Let's go. Huh? We passed. Wow. Star Ryzeal is a brick. It is. It's a much needed brick. So is the Cross. Cross is a brick. 2 bricked cards that you have to play. So this is in comparison to a card like TB11. TB11 is a brick, but many people feel it's not worth playing as much as Star and Crosses. Cross and Star compared to TB11 is much better. You have to play it even though they're a brick. We are going to Ash negate the sword mate. Like, what happened? We passed turn 1 and then our turn 2 got messed up. You up, mate? We added and then we ended our turn so we could hit them with the Fualos or the Mulcharmies. You what? Or we had our Ash? I'm just really confused at what even happened in this duel. Both players had non-turns. We got Pirelliad, so, in addition to that, we had nothing. And then on our own turn, we 7 Tachyon added, and then we ended our turn. Now we're at turn 4. Okay. Aggregator, negate the cross before it negates the X Ryzeal, also channeling blocking it from an Ash. Sword from the deck, come to me, and let's clean up this duel. We have the finger for Bell if you want to use it for anything. Detonator, come forth. Attach the Aggregator. Normal the ice, summon the star, set the plasma, further go into the Duo drive. Detach, searching for the node and a plugin. We have the Node Ryzeal sending the Plasma Hole, attempting to reborn as the Bell tries to negate. We're going to detach the detonator to pop away the opposing monster, plus the cross negating on resolution. Reborn back, Dugars, double the attack of the detonator. Bah. Boost over 10,000 damage. 2-1 victory. Let's now wake up for the next match. Gold Sark. Rhino is another one, right? Correct. So Rhino, Sharon, maybe Tier Cash. Let's find out right now. Tier Cash or the Solic search for a Tier Cash? Nope. Wow. Well, while we did not banish the Hovness, that's okay. Hovness, we have the terahertz is pretty cool. We have negate a monster, finger a monster. We could also banish in the grave with the white binder. We could non-target banish with the MTP. And we could also use another disruption off of the terahertz, about 7 form of disruption. Our back row is so immensely filled to the brim that we didn't even have room to set our other impermanents. You what, mate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, did I even count the Apollos? We have 9 disruption. What the heck? We are super clapped. Hovness, I should say the Sharon's going to get negated by the Apollo, so we're just going to normal summon to mill 3. Now, this is great. Because you waited, you now have a scenario where I think you have to preemptively finger or you have to use the Apollo to negate, but we lost an Apollo negate because of the screen reducing our attack. And what I'm talking about is the Keldo's ability to return 3 cards from the opponent's graveyard back into the deck. We really want to reborn the white binder, which we're not going to be able to do. Ideally, we want to trigger the white rabbit from engrave by banishing it, or by triggering the red ransom by banishing a white rabbit from the deck to then set an MTP. So when are we whipping out that finger? Tier Cash, mill an additional 2. Solic is going to be searching our deck. Keldo is activating early. Let's return the Deceive Worm back into the deck and the white binder. We can't negate, so we're just going to chain the GWC mate, and the Keldo's no longer engraved, so we can't finger it. Dodge the return back. We do lose the Deceive Worm. Now we're going to have the ability to banish from either player's graveyard. Say goodbye to your Solic. Tier Cash is going to be banishing the Solic. As we chain the terahertz to send from the extra deck, are we getting the Deceive Worm back engraved? Yes, we are. We now have the ability with Deceive Worm to negate and spell and trap card. We want to know, does this negate a spell and trap card or also the effect, which would be a spell and trap card activating while in graveyard or a spell and trap card activating while already face up? That is very important to know that it does. Spell and trap card or effect just like that and negate the activation. Banish from engrave, Tier Cash is going for that mill 3 play. That screen turning off the second negate on Apollo was big. We have Imperm negating the Tier Cash. We have a follow-up play, a surprise with LZ. Also, Fiendsmith Engraver being able to search, but we have the Lurie Engraver. We want Lurie to be in the deck. We could search for the track, then return the Lurie back with Engraver, and then search for Lurie and discard it. Red Ransom, triggering the search, White Rabbit Chainlink blocking it, and getting ready to set up the MTP. This is it. MTP, non-target banish, is now here. You want to be careful about the secret effect of the Firewall Terahertz. Within the battle phase, it negates any opposing monster effects. Call to the grave, fingering the engraver, so all of those great plays of adding track, then returning back to Lurie, they're gone. We still have LZ with the full force virus. And that's exactly what we're playing into. Special summon LZ on resolution, special to Ryzeal. Ryzeal cannot special summon if the LZ gets banished by the MTP, which it looks like we are doing. Banish away the white binder, add while we have the red ransom and non-target banish the LZ. Trigger the white binder to come back, draw a card, drew in a hand trap. You can't make this up. The impulse can now negate a Requiem. You what, mate? Requiem, summon, nothing. If the impulse negates, we're going to just call to the grave even. We have so much non-engine. Nerf non-engine. I'm sick of non-engine being so good. Awesome. all cards sent to the grave are banished instead. Unfreaking believable. We're going to thrust into our back row a triple tactics talent, which does nothing. And I think we just gave up. Yeah, we really gave up, didn't we? That's a giver upper if I've ever seen one. You don't play Black Goat Laughs, at least a set from the deck. You play Mischief of the Gnomes instead of the Goat. 60 card deck, and you don't have a trap. You don't even play impermanence. Maybe you don't because of your randomly milling. I think he's just demoralized, honestly. You don't play the Tearlament trap that flips a monster face down to then perform a fusion. Not that you could even fuse because you're under the effect of D-Shifter still for 2 freaking turns with how awesome D-Shifter is. And look at that. Not even giving him the satisfaction of the lethal attack. Nope. Spits on your Cryptor because of the Shifter. I'm surrendering before game. I'm out. That is the top 16. YouTube, we're going to be hopping into the top 8 grand finale and top deck list where we start off with Centurion against Ryzeal and Centurion with the Metal Tronus with no Ash to stop it. Surely this is going to win us the duel. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, we are going second, but that's okay. We have Maxi, Imperm, and Metal Tronus. Surely this is our duel to win. Plu, I believe in you. Don't let us down in the very next video. Let's go.